Sorry for the interruption. All right, so we're back here again with Babatunde Salaam, running for his bid for delegate. Just a couple of questions and we'll move on. All right, so in my last question, I asked you as far as how was the transition? You made it very plain. I mean, you said clearly that going back to your first point, you made it very plain that being someone who was a minority and not being able to run for delegate, that in and of itself speaks to, you know, you highlighting the fact that you're involved in the WC and also highlighting the fact that because you're involved in the WC, it would just only make sense that if you're big to get into the local and not to be a delegate would follow right through with that because you also want to share that not only that progress is also being made.
Yeah.
And that's what I gained.
Yeah.
Now, my other question though, so dig on that a little. You said you went from West Baltimore, and then coming from West Baltimore, you get into Local 24 Baltimore, and now possibly becoming a delegate. How important is that within the framework of where you came from?
Yeah. I mean, so there is, when I will say this, there's not a lot of folks from Baltimore City within our local. As far as I know, like most of the, and that's fine that we have a lot of folks from the surrounding counties, but I think it's also important that we organize the city. I think Baltimore is a a up and coming city within Maryland that has a lot of potential. This being a port city, it used to be the money maker for the state of Maryland, and we want to make sure that the labor force within Maryland is fully represented, including Baltimore City. And with that being said, like I think it benefits us to say like we have members from the city that when we go to organize at whether it's career fairs, whether it's at high schools, whether it's at other contractors, that look, there are people just like you who work and live in the city and join the team. You know what I mean? We want to get all in our constitution it says organize every electrical worker, and that includes to me Baltimore City. So you know I hope to just make Baltimore proud
I think it would make Baltimore very proud. Because, like you said, coming from that history, and then not only to see that you got in here, which is already in itself showing progress, it just is what it is. But then adding to that, that again, you being a delegate and being able to share that information under the delegate's responsibilities with the convention. About the fact that not only are these moves being made and they seeing that, but also what you care to express when it comes to conversations about the very law that you said there's a living document for all of us.
yeah. And I'll say one other thing about being a delegate. The IBW as an institution, I think, has been very undemocratic for a long time. So, a fun fact: we haven't elected an international president since 1980, right? So, every international president that's been representing all of the IBW have been appointments since before 1980. I went and did the research, right? If you look back, it was one international president who was then retiring then appoints another international president who then retires and then appoints another. And I bring that up to say is that when that happens like that, when members don't get a chance to vote on who represents them, it decreases the enthusiasm and the energy for the union, right? The actual unity and solidarity that we all need to make sure that we stand united to bargain with the contractors. We need all of our members to have an investment in that by voting, by showing up to events, by being on the picket line if that comes to it. And so when you don't vote and you don't have a say on in the local or at the international level, then it makes you feel like, well, why should I care? But we should care, right? And that's why I want to be the delegate. Is that I want to show everyone in the local that we had this is our area. Like I'm just a dude at the job site, just like you're a dude at the job site. So get involved, run for positions, organize, educate your members, and mainly we represent our work when we go out in the community, right? And so by us being able to say like, I'm able to provide for my family through this union, and this is my work. Look at the work that I've done. You know, that is more important than anything. But people won't do that if they don't feel like they're being represented on all levels.
Right. All right. So, is there anything that you would like to end with that you want to share with anyone else about why they think they should choose UPW?
So, I mean, I would just say that it's I'm here doing the, all that I can to help improve solidarity, right? Whether that's showing up to work, whether that's coming to events and volunteering, whether that's showing up for Renew or EWMC events. And so, you know, I hope that what I've done speaks for why I'm someone to pick for delegate, and I hope to do even better in the future.
All right. All right. With that note, got it.